If you're a music major, you will eventually touch an instrument. I mean, it'd be absurd to be a music major and not handle instruments. And if you're a science major, you have to discover things. You have to get into the lab. I mean, the research is a creative activity of science. So a student to go through 4 years as an undergraduate and never get into a lab and make a discovery, it's like never touching the instrument. I met Katie St. Denis for the first time in my advanced course in parasitology. Katie sat up front, and she had a habit of asking the most impertinent, difficult questions. And every class, the students would be giggling every time she came in. They could see her hand go up, and then they knew something was coming. And I thought, well, that's the kind of person I want to have in my lab. So right away, I suggested she come and work with me. I figured that was the way to solve the problem of a student who asks impertinent questions, is have her find the answers for herself.
We have very little data right now, except for, I think, one species of human malaria parasite that has gone back so far with samples to constitute evolutionary time, arguably. And this would be the first such study to do that for a non-human malaria parasite, so it's just good comparative data.
We have information on the genes that are responsible for drug resistance, and we know that once we introduce a new drug into, for treating people with malaria, we know that very quickly the parasite changes. That can happen over just a few years. What about a parasite that's never been attacked by drugs? And so we work with this parasite of lizards in California. So people aren't out there distributing pills to lizards. And they're not, there's no interference in the natural system.
A parasite and its host tend to co-evolve in kind of an escalating battle of arms. Like one will try and fight the other, and it constantly goes back and forth, as it's not only evolving for each generation time, it's evolving to the host immune system, which can happen in an individual over many generations of the parasite. So we expect that microsatellite genes, which typically evolve faster than other coding genes, would tend to show a fair amount of variation over a period of years.
And so we have stored blood samples going back in the freezer, going back all the way to 1995, 1996. And so Katie and I sat down and thought, well, would it be worthwhile for us to see if we can detect an evolutionary change in that parasite over the past 14 years or so? And then we have other blood samples stored in the form of microscope blood smears that have been stained. And that's when you stain a blood smear, it's as though you're going out of your way to destroy the DNA. And so to recover it is going to take some pretty fancy tricks. And so Katie was up for that. And it would be a rare student for me to say, go for it, because that involves a lot of very close attention, but also the ability to just keep focused and to do the same thing over and over again, try stuff. If it fails, try the next idea. And Katie has that style. I found that out during her summer project. And so now she has a genetic information for 5 spots in the genome from 2009 samples going back to the 1995, 96 in that range. And now she's getting ready to start scratching microscope slides to see if she can recover the DNA off of those slides. So she'll have a one-in-a-kind kind of a project, and it's going to take a lot more work to get it finished. And by the time she's done her senior project, she's going to have another paper that everybody working with malaria and other microbes as well will want to read.
I definitely want to go to graduate school. I want a career in science, and I take that seriously. And I really wanted to get started on it and get experience with it before I got to graduate school, before I made a career out of it. It's kind of a continual process, so it doesn't just start at some set point when you're done with school. It's something that starts when you're in school.